Scott Foster here with you, and we are talking with folks from the Nebraska Community Foundation and some of the success stories that have happened over these years. And we're here with some folks from Red Cloud today. This is Ashley Olson and Dennis Hansen. How are you guys today? Good. Well, thank you for being here. And I guess, Ashley, I'll start with you and tell us a little bit why the Nebraska Community Foundation, why are you guys involved with Red Cloud?
Well, we are always looking for ways in Red Cloud to help the community thrive, to make it a more attractive place to live, to work, to visit. And being part of the Nebraska Community Foundation Network has been one of the key ways we've helped to foster that sort of culture in Red Cloud.
Dennis, Red Cloud is really an interesting place, as much history as some of any places in Nebraska. But it hasn't always been easy economically. But, you know, the idea of loving where you live, that's one of our themes here, belonging here. How has that message been received in Red Cloud through the years?
Well, quite well. It's unfortunately, we've been a part of the Nebraska Community Foundation since almost the inception. So that's helped, and people in Red Cloud know what the Nebraska Community Foundation is. And we just started using asset-based community development, and that came from us, from Nebraska Community Foundation to foster economic development in Red Cloud, and it's worked quite well.
So you've kind of used it as a vehicle to get some things done there in the village.
Yeah, that's very correct. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Well, let's talk, Ashley, about some of the projects that you guys have worked on, some of the things. And the right on top is something that a lot of people in Nebraska who were paying attention, the Valley Child Development Center. Talk about that a little bit.
Well, the Valley Child Development Center is, in my opinion, one of our biggest assets in Red Cloud. It was identified as childcare was identified as a huge community need several years ago. And so through the Red Cloud Community Fund and other partners, we were able to raise slightly more than $2 million to build a state-of-the-art childcare facility that's been open for more than 5 years now. So it's a real feather in our cap as a community, and an asset that is serving not only residents of Red Cloud, but residents of the region in a really important and meaningful way.
It used to be that if you had a town that you wanted to succeed, you needed housing and jobs, but now daycare is really the other kind of third leg in that stool.
Absolutely. I think it's becoming increasingly hard for a household to get by on a single income. And so childcare is a really essential piece of the puzzle. And we're fortunate to have the center that we have in Red Cloud.
Talk about, Dennis, a little bit. I noticed the heritage tourism development because of Willa Cather and stuff, tourism, a big part of Red Cloud. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I touched on earlier, one of the things we did early on was hire our version of an economic development director. We call him a heritage tourism director. And so we basically are using Willa Cather as our main asset in Red Cloud and trying to expand that into other things.
Okay, very good. Tell me, Ashley, a little bit about the homegrown challenge. What was that all about?
Well, that was slightly before my time as a volunteer on the fund, but I'll tell you what I know of it. It was an important piece of the puzzle for our community fund. Longtime friends of the fund, Frank and Shirley Seibert, issued a $100,000 challenge grant to the Red Cloud Fund that we were able to match, and the dollars that resulted from that initiative established our unrestricted endowment, which is our primary grant-making tool.
Very good. One of the things that you talk about more too is partnerships. How has it been getting like business partners and stuff like that? Have you found that people have been willing to work with the city to make it grow?
Yeah, we have an important partnership with the school system for the Child Development Center that is really meaningful, as well as for several years a partnership with the city of Red Cloud as part of the Heritage Tourism Development Initiative that Dennis discussed. And I think in recent years we've seen a lot of businesses buy in and support both of those efforts in various ways, which is it's really encouraging to see that private businesses, have an ownership stake in improving the community.
The Child Development Center uses a program they call the Business Partner Program, where they're actively going to the businesses and, asking for money, and they promote them and back and forth. So it's been a great way to help them raise money for their quality deficit.
Sure. One of the things I noticed here too, Dennis, is that you guys have talked a little bit about hometown interns. What is that?
It's just a program the Nebraska Community Foundation has. We've been hiring interns the last few years to not only help us do the things we need to do for Red Cloud, but then maybe welcoming them back eventually to become a part of Red Cloud full time.
So part of that you belong here thing, giving them some ownership in the community.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, very good. Ashley, what about maybe some future things that you guys are looking to do?
Yeah, we always have a lot of projects underway. We just completed a multi-million-dollar hotel development, and so we're working through getting that facility off the ground and sustainable. And then we are working on a trails project in Red Cloud. There's a park redevelopment project that is underway. What am I forgetting, Dennis?
I think that's it right now, yeah.
You talked about Hardwick. I've noticed here, Hardwick Veterans Park. Tell me a little bit about that. Turn it to you, Dennis.
It's just a project recently started. It's named after Donald Stratton, who was a survivor of the Arizona, and he is buried in Red Cloud. He's from the area, and they have plans to renovate this park and turn it back to what it was like in the early years.
One of the things that I hear from a lot of communities is the transfer of wealth programs and some of the endowments. Have you had some success? I see where you have $3.3 million in endowed assets. You must have had some success in asking folks to transfer some wealth to kind of give back to Red Cloud.
Yeah, I think we're sitting at about 8, we call them expectancies currently. Okay. So we know of 8 individuals in our network who have very generously made gift arrangements to benefit the Red Cloud Community Fund beyond their lifetime. And just in the last couple of years, we received a very generous bequest from a former resident of Red Cloud that when it was all said and done, it capitalized our endowment by, I think it was about $1.6 million, which has significantly increased our grant-making capabilities.
And I noticed that you're at 95% of your the goal that you wanted for your 10-year transfer of wealth. That's really awesome.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
Yeah,
when you say expectancies, that simply just means that you're expecting to get that money. Is that what that means by that? Or?
Yes, an estimated value of the planned gifts that we are aware of at this time.
Okay, that's amazing, and I see that number there is 874,000. So that's really great. Well, a lot of success has taken place in Red Cloud, and it sounds like the Nebraska Community Foundation has certainly been part of that, hasn't it?
Oh yeah, definitely. All of our FAC members, try to come to trainings and stuff, and they've came to Red Cloud many times to give us make the ask trainings and stuff like that, and it's really helped.
That's awesome. Well, very good. Well, Ashley Olson, Dennis Hansen, Red Cloud, thank you very much. Appreciate all the work that you've done there in Red Cloud, and congratulations.
Thanks
Thank you
for having us.